Hello, welcome everyone to Thomas Edison School of Fairfax open house information session. This is going to be a pre-recorded session for those that miss out on our live sessions. As you know, this is a gifted and talented kindergarten through second grade private school. We're accredited by Cognia, which is the same company or the accrediting agency as our parent school slash sister school of Best Academy and Fairfax Global Academy. We're certified by Virginia Council for Private Education. This, in other words, we are certified by an organization where the transfer of credits should be seamless between our institution and other public slash private schools around the area. We have developed our curriculum in partnership with William and Mary's Center for Gifted Education. And just as a note, if you are able to attend our live open house sessions, you will receive a 50% discount for the GT screening test, which we will go into a little bit later. So as I said, we are a private elementary school for grades K through second. We do plan on growing with our student body, meaning that we will begin offering kindergarten, first and second grade in our inaugural year. But as we grow, as the students become third graders or fourth graders, we want to be an option for you and your family. So the goal is to we're accredited, as a K through 12 school, so we would definitely want to grow with our community. I mentioned that we are a sister school of Best Academy. I keep saying parent school because Best Academy has been around since 1994. So we are sort of in a position where a lot of our parents, after they're very satisfied with our Best Academy program, they wanted us to do full day school. And with the accrediting agency, and the process that we have gone through in the past several years, we are able to do that this year. So very excited for this opportunity. We went over the accreditation and the recognition, as well as our partnership with William and Mary. And another exciting news is that we will be offering our classes 100% in person. So this is our certification from Cognia. I really want to stress the fact that Cognia is one of the organizations that is the most difficult. I would say one of the most difficult group to be accredited, to receive the accreditation from. So they were formerly known as SACS Advanced Ed, for those of you that are familiar with that name, but they recently merged with Cognia. They currently serve 36 different countries. So the accreditation goes beyond just the United States here in Virginia. And this is our certificate of recognition from VCPE. Again, this will allow a seamless transition of credit, recognition, all the awards that you accumulate through Thomas Edison School of Fairfax with other public and private institutions, not just in Virginia, but it definitely gives the validity and the legitimacy of our courses. And from here on out, I would like to introduce my colleague, Miss Mary, to take over.
Thank you, James. And so some of you might be wondering why GT education for kindergarten through second grade and why we need to serve this particular group of students in a different way. Well, it's quite simple. We find that gifted students are a little bit more independent. They're not afraid to initiate the learning process by asking questions, and they're always looking to apply their knowledge and skills that they've acquired in the classroom setting. Because gifted students require different learning styles and need more opportunities to apply their skills, they need a different learning environment than where they are right now to develop their knowledge. And we would actually like to be one of the first ones in the area to provide that for them. Another thing that a lot of gifted students would like to do and what we would like to promote is having connections across subjects. We want students to actually have a big picture and be able to make connections across subjects. And of course, we want students to be able to apply what they've learned in a classroom setting and outside world situations and be able to create stuff they are passionate about and express it in different ways. So, why are we starting Thomas Edison School of Fairfax? I think the biggest reason is that the Fairfax County Public Schools do not offer their advanced placement program until third grade. So there are currently no options for gifted education available in a public school setting for kindergarten, first, or second grade. We have a lot of students from kindergarten, first, and second grade who can already read above their benchmark and can already solve math problems better than their peers, and they are not being challenged. By the time they get to the AAP program in third grade, they're mixed in with about 28 to 30 other students per class, and it is nearly impossible to attend to every single student in a given amount of time in such a large class. But here at Thomas Edison School of Fairfax, the focus will be on small class sizes, which will allow for maximum classroom participation where the students can really ask questions and participate and be comfortable in a setting where they are able to speak up. With smaller set of students, maximum of 10 students per class, we are able to tailor to the students' specific needs, challenging them with learning material 2 to 3 grades higher, whereas Fairfax County Public Schools are teaching their gifted students only 1 grade level above where they currently are. So here's our guiding principles of Thomas Edison School of Fairfax, and I would like you to pay attention to our action verbs that we have underlined here. We would like to challenge students in all areas and intend to their whole being. We want to promote personal development. So aside from academic development, we want to make sure students are developing intellectually, physically, and socially. We want to develop lifelong learning skills. And lastly, we don't want them to be just smart students. We want them to have great character and become model citizens to positively impact our society beyond their classroom settings. And back to you, James.
Thank you. Here is our ideal student profile. Please pay attention to some of these adjectives that we have here. As Ms. Mary mentioned, we would love our students to be smart, but also a model citizen for this globalized world, especially in this DC area where it's probably one of the most transient area in the country. So we would like students to have, not just be knowledgeable about something, but be open-minded, well-balanced, so forth. And alongside of our, how monthly we have different celebrations like Black History Month or Hispanic Heritage Month. So besides those monthly celebrations, we would like to focus on different attitudes for the students, right? Not that appreciation is always more important than cooperation, but for the month of January, we'll, focus on empathy. The next month we'll focus on curiosity. So we'll have a specific focus on these attitudes every month. Here are some of the instructional highlights. Again, just pay attention to the underlined stuff here. We are fusing language arts with social studies. They both require a lot of reading and understanding. We would like our students to make connections, just like what Miss Mary said, instead of having like a silo of classes. We would like students to make connections, have that big picture, right? For science, we would love for our students to not just see themselves as a consumer on this planet, but we're interconnected with other animals, plants, and minerals. Spanish instruction is actually a part of our core curriculum. So language acquisition, I think, is big for gifted and talented students. There is a growing number of studies saying that before they turn the age of 8, students' brain is actually functioning just like a sponge, right? If they're exposed to different languages and knowledge, I think it'll actually help our GT students to, in not just the language department, but in other areas as well. And we're very intentional about our art classes too. So craft, drawing, painting, not just to foster creativity, but we really believe that the GT experience includes sensory learning as well. So they're not just learning with brain, but they're learning with their hands too. what makes us truly different. If you're familiar with our Best Academy program, you've probably seen applied math courses that we offer. It really promotes analytical problem solving methods, meaning that we're covering our school math. So, whatever that your child is learning next year, we're covering that through Best Academy. But what the problem solving, what we offer through applied math program is that there are multiple ways to solve one math problem, and we want students to find the most efficient way to do so that really works for them. And Miss Mary mentioned this too. Instead of just going 1 year above their benchmark, we can actually go up to 2 to 3 years higher than their what the public school is currently offering from grade 3. Again, this is possible because we have a smaller classroom of 8 to 10 students per grade. We are definitely putting emphasis on classroom participation. So I didn't get to face this until I become a college student, where some of my marketing classes, they actually took 30% of my final grade to be a verbal classroom participation grade. So it's definitely becoming of important essence in our American college education system. So we definitely want our students to feel comfortable speaking up in class in a very safe environment. That kind of leads to my next point of social skills. Yes, it is great to be right all the time, but at the same time, we want students to disagree or to share their ideas socially, right? We want them to develop socially so that they can be a model citizen, as I said before. We talked about the foreign language acquisition, and our field trips is also very aligned with our curriculum that was developed in conjunction with the GT Education Center in William and Mary. So with that, I would like to introduce my other colleague, Miss Courtney, to take over.
Right. Hi, everyone. I'm going to briefly go over some of the different subjects that we will be offering here at Thomas Edison School of Fairfax. So the first three are part of our main curriculum, which is language arts, math, and science. I'd like to point out that reading in our language arts section is actually not just students reading individually, but the students are going to be reading with their teacher and with their classmates. And as they read, we'll be asking them questions to really double check their reading comprehension. And then we also have accelerated reading, which is a program that allows us to give a small test on their book, and then that also kind of evaluates the comprehension level of each student. In our math section, we will be doing a lot of problem solving, applied math, as James mentioned earlier. And then in science, we are going to be doing a lot of hands-on and field trip related learning. All right, and so social studies. Social studies we're going to kind of combine with language arts. And this is in order to help students with nonfiction and informative text at a young age, as well as help them develop good leadership and community awareness skills. All students will also be taking Spanish as a foreign language course. We'll teach them basic vocabulary and grammar, as well as some cultural background lessons. Spanish seems to be the most commonly spoken language other than English in this area, but we also hope to include more languages in the future, such as French or Chinese as well. Coding is one of our elective classes. We'll be using a program called BSD, which allows all of the students to work on their own individual coding projects that they can save and keep over time. And teachers can easily go in and help the student as they work. So a lot of students really like using this program for their coding classes. Our other electives are creative arts, music, and PE. We will focus on sensory activities such as drawing and painting and creative arts. In music, we will focus on fundamentals, and we also hope to have the option of learning either piano or violin. We're still working on the details on how the class will be structured, but it will either be in a group setting or it will be similar to individualized lessons. And lastly, in our PE class, we hope to take the students out at least once a month In the cooler seasons, we'll probably take them ice skating. And then when it gets a little bit warmer out, we would hope to take them to the swimming pool so they can swim for PE. And this is just a small sample schedule of a typical day here at Thomas Edison School of Fairfax. We give all students about 10 to 20 minutes between each class. And then we also have time for lunch and recess. We have a small grass area right outside of our building. And so if the weather is nice, we do have an area for students to go and they can eat outside or they can go outside and play between their classes. The admissions procedure is fairly simple. We will send you the application. You can fill everything out online. And then we would just need to schedule for the intelligence/achievement test, which we use a test called SAGES. And actually, if you're attending this open house live, then we will be offering a 50% off of the SAGES entrance exam. Based on the test results, we can determine whether or not your child is considered gifted and talented or not. And after that, you would receive admission decision, schedule for a reading and math placement test. The reading and math placement test is actually through Renaissance, so your child may have already taken that or be familiar with it. And that's just to tell us exactly what grade level they're at. So for example, if we have a kindergarten student, but they're reading at a 3rd grade level, we would find that out through this reading and math placement test. And lastly, you would just pay your tuition, register, and enroll. So this is an example of the SAGES test that I mentioned earlier. This is actually from the reasoning section. And it's fairly simple. The students are just looking at kind of like patterns and determining which of these is going to fit in the blank spot. So this is just a sample of one of our questions for SAGES. And lastly, we want to close this out with a quote from Mr. Thomas Edison. It says, "Learn both with your head and hands." We feel like this quote really encompasses what we are trying to do here at Thomas Edison School of Fairfax with a lot of hands-on and project-based learning.
So here on out, we would like to address some of the questions that were very popular since we started holding our open house sessions. We'll just go in order. I'll take the first one. If Miss Courtney can take the second one, and Miss Mary, you can take the third one, and then we'll just take turns that way. So, who are the teachers of Thomas Edison School of Fairfax was probably one of the most popular questions that we got. The short answer to that is these are mostly students that you've seen and they're familiar with Best Academies program. The biggest reason why we have selected teachers from our, within in-house, within our program is because of the fact that we've been working with gifted students since 1994. A lot of our students, as well as our teachers, mostly our teachers have been here for many, many years. So we feel that our current group of teachers are they're the experts. They're the ones that have worked with gifted students. They know exactly the tendencies of our students. So we believe that a lot of our teachers that we currently have, who are very qualified, licensed and all that, they're very capable of leading our students to and also challenge them. I think that's the most important part, where our teachers know exactly how to make them think and how to have them feel challenged. So that's number one. And Miss Courtney, can you take number two, please?
Sure. So tell me more about SAGE's GT screening test. So as I mentioned, it is a test that we require just to see where your child is at in terms of gifted and talented education. It's $150 to take the exam. However, if you are attending a live virtual house, we will be offering a 50% off. So you would get it for $75 instead. There are three main parts. One is language arts and social studies. The second is math and science. And the last is reasoning, which is a part of the example I showed earlier. And based on the score, that's how we will determine where your student is at in terms of gifted and talented. And we'll also be doing the test at our facility in person. So once we have a group of students, we can go ahead and we'll notify you, and then we can plan a day to come in and take this test.
Just to add one more thing, Miss Courtney, I believe the reasoning part of the test is that the scores that the students get from the reasoning part closely aligns with their IQ test scores too. So I think it's worth every penny, in my opinion, for and of course we're offering 50% discount for any parents that are attending this live sessions that we have, and we're going to be doing it every week. So please, be on the lookout for my email for that. And Miss Mary, can you take the third question?
Yes. So the third question, where are we located? We are located in Springfield, Virginia. It's the same building as our sister school, Best Academy. James, back to you.
Thank you. Yes, and as we grow with our body, our student body, of course, we would like to, have a dedicated building. And Dr. Lee has been very diligent about scouting different locations. But yes, we will start our inaugural year with where you're most familiar with here with Best Academy. And number 4, do you have age, like September birthday restrictions? So similar to Fairfax County, if you were born in October 1st and you can't quite make the cutoff age or the cutoff line for Fairfax County, we're a little bit more flexible in that regard. Even if you were born in November, that's I think where the testing scores come in. SAGES, as well as the reading and math placement test that Ms. Courtney has mentioned before, we will consider, not saying we'll make every single exception, but if the student is gifted and if the student is able to follow our curriculum, we'll definitely make the case for you to the headmaster.
And lastly, what is your yearly tuition? So our yearly tuition is $14,900, which we think is pretty reasonable with the type of gifted and talented education that we can provide. The last time I checked, there is only one other program for rising kindergarten gifted and talented, and it's around $36,000. So we're actually less than half of the typical price for gifted and talented education.
Yeah, I think, like Miss Courtney say, we want to be an option for our families, and instead of waiting until a third grade, they don't have to continue to be bored in school. They don't have to just wait for their peers to catch up. We want our students to feel challenged from the very get-go, and I believe Thomas Edison School of Fairfax can be a great option for our families. So thank you everyone for watching this video. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us. Our phone number is 703-978-0008. So it's the same phone number as Best Academy. And if you have further questions, if you want to reach out to any one of us, you can reach me at jameslee@mybestacademy.com. Thank you.